All right. Um, we're back at the Daily Dope Show and seen this story on Facebook blowing up. People sharing it quite a bit. So I figured I might talk about it for a minute. Now this new thing that they got, the roadside drug testing, was a pilot program announced last year, and I don't know if it actually they did it last year or not, but they definitely have plans to start doing it this year. So the Michigan State Police has announced 5 counties where a roadside drug testing pilot program will begin on November 8th. Counties selected for roadside drug testing through a saliva test are Berrien, Delta, Kent, St. Clair, and Washtenaw, MSP said on in a November 2nd statement. The one-year pilot program was established by a Michigan legislator under Public Acts 242 and 243 of 2016. The pilot program will establish policies for the administration of drug testing to determine whether an individual is operating a vehicle while under the influence of a controlled substance in violation of Michigan law. Just checking. I get nervous. Over the last several years, Michigan has been seen a steady increase in fatal crashes involving drivers impaired by drugs. In 2016, there were 236 drug-involved traffic fatalities, which is an increase of 32% from 179 drug-involved traffic fatalities in 2015, according to the Michigan State Police. It helped to know exactly what these drugs were. That would be cool. That'd be useful information at this point. Quote, motorists under the influence of drugs pose a risk to themselves and others on the road. Colonel Christy Kaibe Etu, director of Michigan State Police, said, with drug driving on the rise, law enforcement officers need an effective tool to assist in making these determinations during a traffic stop. Still not really telling us what drugs they're talking about. The pilot counties were chosen based on several criteria, including the number of impaired driving crashes, impaired drivers arrested, and trained drug recognition experts, or DREs, in the county. DREs are police officers who have received highly specified training that allows them to identify drivers impaired by drugs. Although the pilot program is being organized and managed by the Michigan State Police, DREs are employed by the county, township, and municipal police agencies. Ones employed by the local police will also be involved, Michigan State Police said. Under the pilot program, a DRE may require a person to submit to a preliminary oral fluid analysis to detect the presence of a controlled substance in the person's body if they suspect the driver is impaired by drugs. The preliminary oral fluid analysis will be conducted by a DRE on the person's oral fluid obtained by mouth swab and will be administered along with the drug recognition 12-step evaluation currently used by DREs. Refusal to submit to a preliminary oral fluid analysis upon lawful demand of the police officer is a civil infraction. Is that all? Well, I highly recommend everybody to go ahead and just refuse that right off the bat. So, people are commenting on this. I might have commented. And somebody commented back, well, what do you know? So someone said, I hope that pot is one of the substances including on the testing. And I said the bad thing about this, that is that you can test positive for weed for 30 days or more after the buzz wears off. So that would be crazy if it was included. I'm sure it is, though, because the whole reason they are doing this is to pad their driving while stoned numbers. Also, Mr. Red, White, and Blue, why do you like this assault on the Fourth Amendment so much? Well, I guess they shouldn't have smoked pot for 30 days before they drive. Okay, buddy. Also, I don't like driving 50,000 miles a year for my job knowing there are people out there driving doped up. I'm willing to give up some of my freedoms to be safe, kind of like all the other freedoms I've lost because there are a bunch of stupid people in this world. Sounds like you're a terrible American, man. You're supposed to love freedom And part of freedom is the Constitution and the fucking amendments, the Bill of Rights. These are things that, you know, we're lucky enough to live in a country that they give you the freedom to have. And one of those happens to be the Fourth Amendment, the freedom from fucking unreasonable, unlawful searches and seizures of your property. And quite frankly, a fucking roadside mouth swab is an egregious violation of your Fourth Amendment rights. And that's why they're only offering a civil infraction if you refuse, you know, because that's just ridiculous to tell somebody that they absolutely have to take a test. Now, if you're driving impaired, if you look like you're fucking driving all over the road, well, then yeah, then you can definitely test your shit out and see what's going on. However, I don't think that's what they're talking about here, guy. And somebody else might have mentioned a comment. Oh, you know, these are just people getting pulled over because they're driving like shit. I think somebody was trying to make the case up here. But that's not what this is. These are checkpoints where you pull up to it, you have to submit to a test or they give you a fucking civil infraction. It's just simple as that. And if it's anything besides that, please let me know. But I'm pretty sure that's what it is. If nothing else, it's just they're pulling random cars over. They're not waiting for someone to look impaired because they're going to give that person an impaired ticket no matter what. So that wouldn't be considered any kind of a roadside drug test. Red, white, and blue. Remember, red, white, and blue, that those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve nothing, neither liberty nor safety, said Ben Franklin. Some of us aren't willing to go down the slippery slope of giving up our freedom. And then he's, of course, got all this shit talking about how, you know, well, that's why I don't go to commercial airlines no more, because I don't want to fucking be submitted to that. That's bullshit, too. And it's, you know, because of the war on terror, which is basically like the chances of getting fucking hit by a terrorist attack is very slim and none. Can you drive your car as fast as you want without the possibility? Now, look, man, we're not saying that we are against the rules. You know, if there's rules out there, we're for following the rules. I just think that what you're talking about here with this roadside search shit is just complete horse shit. And it's against the rules, to be quite fucking honest. It's against the rules of the country, not just the rules of, hey, we should make a speed limit because if everybody just drives as fast as they can, there'll be a lot more crashes. So that just makes sense that we have laws like that. We're not saying that you can do anything you want. That's not what anybody's saying here. We're saying we don't fucking want to give up. That's not freedom. That's just being a reckless asshole and suicidal, driving as fast as you want or can, knowing that you're going to get in a wreck eventually. So, Mr. Red, White, and Blue, you're clearly full of shit, and you know it. So, and anybody else that thinks this roadside fucking random drug test thing is anything but a way to pad their numbers and say that, oh, look, there's a spike. They already said it in this article. There's a spike in drug driving crashes and drug driving this and that. So your spike it went from 179, about 180 to 230. There's your spike. Went up about 50. I'm sure it'll go back down next year. And then, you know, and here's another thing, is a lot of times when you're talking about prescription medication, which I think now they're finally doing that. They're finally talking about that too. Because Trump said, okay, let's do this drug thing with the opioid crisis. Let's do it like the drug war style, where we just crack down on anybody that has them. You know, if you don't got a script for them, we're just going to bust you down, and let's pull over people and randomly see if they have any drugs in their system. So mostly you're looking for weed as usual, but, you know, when you're talking about these fatalities here, you're talking about people that are on pharmaceutical drugs, and those people didn't always used to get tested. There wasn't some kind of a thing where every time there was a fatal car crash, off to the morgue everybody goes that died, especially the drivers. We got to find out what they were on. No, that's called a toxicology report. And in my experience, it's just until recently that there was even a demand for them to be done almost every time a wreck happens. You know, in a busy city, You might not even get one unless someone demands one. So don't even tell me this shit where, oh, you have this big spike. That's because the closer you get to today, the better records for some reason that they're keeping on this shit. And again, it's because marijuana legalization is on the horizon, and they're trying to do everything they can to get every little bit of power that they have to keep. All right, well, I guess that's all I got on this. Didn't think I was actually going to make a video about it, but there's a lot of other Michigan stories out there, and I just figured I'd throw this one in there too. See if I can get some more little Michigan subscribers out there. So yeah, just go ahead and hit subscribe. We'll have plenty of stories coming.